youth.
All right, it might have been like an old-timey way to say that.
I would still consider you part of the youth, Victor.
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't go.
All right, it might have been.
I think there was a Nico.
Yeah, because I just put us live and didn't have my YouTube on silent. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Can you all see the links that I shared, or do I have to reshare them?
Nope.
Nope, as in you can't see it. Okay.
I see nothing for now.
I see no link.
No, you don't.
There you go. That's the paper.
Here you go. Yes, I can see it.
Guess we have to redo this once everyone is here.
Yeah.
It's all right, Ezra. Hello. Okay.
Oh. Looks interesting.
Oh, it is interesting. Do we ever do boring papers at Neuroccino?
I kind of remember once or twice.
Oh, great, Victor.
Oh, what am I saying?
But the whole point of this is we only talk about cool, exciting papers.
You know, relativity stuff.
Well, we all have different backgrounds. So, right, let's wait one more minute to allow people to. Evie says he can't switch on his video today. That's fine. It's a shame we don't see you today, but thanks for being here. And then
Where are the others?
The host does not allow me. That's a new thing. Let me make you co-host. There you go.
I mean, it's because you have to streaming on Twitch. Otherwise, it's not a.
Now, Evie, you're your own master now. No more excuses. Still not working. Strange.
Maybe it's your webcam that is broken. I don't know.
He left us. Harsh. Right. Well, I'm guessing he's going to come back in. As I'm presenting today, I'm going to make you co-host as well. There we go. Oh, that's looking better. Yay! Hello.
Got it. I don't know why he didn't want me to switch on the video, but now it's working. Okay.
Monday morning technology is also catching up.
Good morning.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to Neuroccino. I do apologize. I was told my audio is a bit off because, as you can see, the room is beginning to be very empty, so there's an echo, but I hope it's not too bad. Neuroccino, how does it work? Everyone is welcome to join us, present a paper. The only criteria is it's an exciting piece of science, at least for you, and you convince us that it should be exciting for all of us. And don't present your own work, and that is basically it. So today I'm presenting a paper. I shared the link in the chat. I'm just going to reshare it to make sure everyone can see it now. Fantastic. Now let me share my screen. There you go. Now you can see yourselves. Here we go. That is the paper. Sorry, not trying to make anyone nauseous this morning. Here we go. That's the paper I'm going to talk about today, which is called the Digital Brain Bank, an open access platform for post-mortem datasets. Briefly, what it is and why I thought it was exciting. It's a data release platform that is open access and is designed to mainly compare in vivo and post-mortem MRI imaging by offering different modalities of imaging. So you have structural scans, you have diffusion scans, but then you also have polarized light imaging, for example, and other post-mortem histological measures. And I'll show you in a second what that looks like. Now, the paper also comes with its own viewer. It's called the T-View, which was developed to allow you to look at MRI and microscopy file formats at the same time, which apparently none of the other viewers can really do. So it's really tailored for that cross-modality co-registration. And also the T-Viewer is available, sorry, I already got rid of the dog gate. It's available on Git, so you can download the code and play around with it. Just to give you an idea, in terms of the numbers we're looking at, it's apparently one of the largest data sets we have. I wrote it down here. 21 human brains, 14 non-human primates, and then 12 neurodegeneration samples with ALS or MND, depending on where you are in the world. And let's have a quick look what they offer. So there's 3 main parts to this project. The first is called the Digital Neuroanatomist, which is really for anatomical investigations, comparing in vivo and post-mortem MRI. Then you have the Digital Brain Zoo, where they collected many species. Hey, stop it. And offer the data for the different non-human primates. And I'll show you in a minute what that is. I'm sorry. And then you have the Digital Pathologist, which, as I mentioned, are the 12 pathological data sets to look at the disease mechanisms. Right, let me find some of the pictures for you. You also have a nice overview in the paper of what they actually acquired and the resolution. So you can see for the diffusion, we're going down to 500 microns, for example, isotropic. And then here we go, pictures. So here, let me zoom in a little bit so you get a full screen. Here you can see the resolution at 2 millimeter, 1 millimeter, and then 500 micron resolution for the diffusion imaging. And it's very clear when you look at the pontine, for example, that the level of detail you get is quite nice to look at. And there's many more structures that you can actually see with the naked eye that you can't see with a more boxy acquisition. Another example that I thought was quite striking is the internal capsule here, where you can see the striate fibers running through it, which you definitely cannot see in the 2 millimeter acquisition. And then here you see the comparison with the polarized light imaging, for example. That's for the digital anatomist. Looking at the, to zoom out because the zoo is big. Here we go. So here you have all the data that is available for cross-species comparison. And you can see, just for reference, human is up here next to the chimp and the gorilla. Then we have the macaque monkey here, which is also a very common species that is often compared and looked at with comparative MR imaging. And then finally, as I mentioned, you have the neurodegenerative data set, where you have the MRI sequences, the T1s, the diffusion, you have histological scans, you can do the tryptography, extract diffusion indices, but also co-register it with MRI and histology to see if you can tease out the mechanisms of the disease progression or disease onset, whatever you're interested in. Now, as I said, all of this data is available, and I open it for you here so you can see the T view that I mentioned earlier. And it's very simple to navigate, really. You basically just select the contrast that you want, and you can overlay it, and you see how that changes your image. So it's quite a neat little tool for visualization. And as I said, all the data can be downloaded and used to investigate. And that's basically it. A very quick paper pitch today. And I'm happy to discuss it with you. No questions? Here we go. Valentina.
Maybe Victor was ready to say something.
No, it's fine. You can start.
Yeah, sorry. I connected like slightly later, and I didn't get how many samples does the atlases include, and are you free to upload your own sample, or they have been acquired by the same institution?
So it includes 21 human diffusion data, 14 non-human primates, and 12 neurodegeneration.
And are the demographic descriptors of the human data available?
Good question. Not that I can see quickly from the paper. Just speed scrolling. Not very visible from the paper.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Victor, sorry.
What? Sorry, it's my turn. Okay, because I was trying to answer to Cesare, but I misread his question, and so yeah, never mind. Anyway, so my question was exactly what do we have? Oh, so basically, they have all the data. It's more like a confirmation of what I understood. Like they have all the data available for download, but they are all co-registered in the same space. So how do you exactly, because you showed us on a small window on a web page what it looks like, but on your computer, I'm not sure how you exactly have everything, or you display everything, like how you display, because there is a histology with fMRI, with diffusion, and how do you exactly compare each and every one of the different modalities on your computer and not on the website, where you have a nice little thing that is already ready to where you can just check boxes?
That is a good question. I don't actually know if you download the data already registered or if you have to do it. That's something we can look into. Michelle is just telling me that he already presented that paper a while ago when it was a preprint. I completely forgot about it.
I remember something slightly like that. So yeah, probably maybe then. Don't remember.
But clearly a great paper if we do it twice as a preprint as a published paper.
True.
Do you remember the co-registration, Michelle?
Vaguely, but because I work with Roger Mas, the idea is to do the registration in a way that zero coordinate is always the entire midsection of the entire commissure. And then every point of coordinates is actually 1 millimeter. And that might be what they call registration here. So it is in the same system of coordinate, but it doesn't mean that you match superior temporal gyrus with the superior temporal gyrus if there is no other species. And then in order to put everything together, there is another approach that Roger has been doing with his team, is they dissect all the white matter tracks and use that to inform the alignment in the analysis. And maybe they added like the parameters of alignment based on white matter tracks with this.
So just coming back to the figure in the paper where they show the MRI and histological co-registration, it says down here that they used the tensor imaging registration library. So maybe that's something to look into.
No idea. No idea. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, because it's true that there will be a lot of deformation, I think, when you look at the histological data, because you are actually fixing the brain, cutting it. So a lot of things can and probably will happen to the shape, the exact shape of what you are removing from the brain. And so I guess that you'll have to do some kind of warping to get it back to something more like what you have in MRI. And so I don't think it's trivial at all to register this kind of thing together.
Definitely not. And then also depending on how you fix your tissue, it will have a difference. And bear in mind, this is post-mortem diffusion. So it's not the easiest acquisition you can do. I also just shared a preprint with you from Rachel Barrett, where she looked at tissue optimization strategies for high quality ex vivo diffusion imaging, and actually showed that the way you prepare your samples and the reperfusion process and the liquid that you use and the concentration of it actually has an impact on the quality of your data. So that might be an interesting paper to read in combination with the one I just showed you. Chris, you have a question.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how you would use this data set, because the goal with histological data is to have something closer to reality, because we can have higher resolutions, much longer acquisition times, of course. The patients, they don't move that much. And how can you use that to improve your so if you're using in vivo MRI, how can you use these data sets, or if you can, I don't know, to confirm or improve your results, or improve your interpretation, maybe, I don't know.
I guess there's many different ways of using it for your own research. As you say, the scanning time is much longer for postmortem samples. That allows you to get a better resolution of your data, and you wouldn't be able to scan healthy living participants for as long as you can scan a postmortem brain. So definitely the quality of the data is different, and the resolution is much better. Now, by having the two converge, the two modalities like MRI, histology, PLI, whatever you're going to use, you can use it, for example, to validate MR imaging. So you can use the combination of the methods to actually see if the signal that we obtain with MR imaging that we believe is showing us certain things like cortical thickness, fiber trajectories, whatever you want to check, you can actually go back to real data, as in histological data, where you can quantify it properly in a tissue sample and thereby compare and validate MR measures. So that's one way of using it. Then obviously, that's, I guess, falls into the digital neuroanatomist section. Then with the digital zoo, you can look at evolutionary questions from a very detailed structural point of view. And then for the neurodegeneration part, I just forgot the name, how they called it. You obviously can look at the mechanisms of disease onset, disease progression in a much more detail and a different angle than you could with just MR imaging, for example. So those are a couple of avenues of investigation that I can see.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Not really a question, more a general comment about like when I see an image like diffraction images that show the orientation of white matter fibers in the slides like this. I'm always impressed by what it looks like, but I think I remember that it has the same problem that we have with diffusion imaging, in the way that it cannot really tell you the anatomy of the tract that it is in. You don't get the the direction of the fibers, a confirmation that the diffusion imaging that you have is actually giving you something that you expect in much higher resolution. You can have them, but you won't have the dissected tracts. So I'm hoping that sometime in the future, someone will develop somewhere to automatize like a brain dissection and keep the fibers and something like that, a bit like we do right now when we dissect a brain to find specific pathways when we remove the gray matter and white matter around the tract and see, okay, now we've got something, but something that is more automatized and where you can get everything at the time and not just one thing by removing what's in front and losing everything that you've removed. So that, I mean, that might be just hopeful thinking, but wishful thinking, but yeah.
I'm not surprised at all that you want to automatize it.
I mean, that would be much easier to do it.
Well, it depends on what you're looking at, right? If you do digital dissections, you can do it repeatedly, of course, but it won't compare to doing post-mortem dissections that by definition are tissue destructive. So there's always a part of it that we may be able to automatize and digitize like they did with the Atlas, but there will always be a part that you just have one go at the tissue and then it's destroyed.
Yeah, that's what I hope we can maybe fix somewhere in the future. But I mean, I don't have any idea how to do that other than like do a super precise scan of each very thin slice. But I think there are teams that do something kind of like that. Well, it's kind of like the Connectome project, I think, where they try to take small brain volumes and slice it very thin and get all the fibers that is inside. But you can't really do that on the whole brain, right? So
yet. Maybe if we're talking about wishful thinking, we might actually get there one day.
Yeah.
There you go. That should, if you develop that should keep you busy for a couple of years.
Easy.
Very easy. Right. Any more questions or comments? Okay. Well, that was a quick session. Well, thanks for being here. Slight change for the next week, if not 2 weeks. So I'm going to step back and move. So my lovely team is going to take over Neuroccino for the next week for sure, and possibly for the next 2 weeks, which will also include the next CNS talk that we have end of this month. So you're going to see a lot less of me and a lot more of my lovely team that is usually doing all the work in the background. And then I'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks. Enjoy it. You'll be in good hands, and I'm looking forward to rewatching all the sessions on YouTube afterwards. Until then, have an exciting week in science. Thanks for coming this morning, and see you soon. Bye.